Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Vicki again and Maryann from Revealing Light Tarot. It's wonderful to be back with Vicki again. We have read before, and there were so many calls out. Can you read again? We actually really liked that. There was a depth there in the readings that people wanted, which is really nice to hear. Today we've got a full program. Dr. Vicki is going to start us off with a look at some astrology charts for around Trump's health, particularly when he tweeted, "I have COVID," and of course that infamous now Rose Garden event, and some other charts that she'll give you an overview. They're very interesting, and they tell a real story about this kind of karmic justice, divine intervention that we've all been picking up in the last few weeks. We'll throw some cards as well on his health to see where he is today. Apparently he hasn't been seen. Of course, he's still tweeting, but who's got his account? The White House is like it's like I was going to say a cemetery, but I won't say that. But it's like it's operating on skeleton staff. Really, it
sounds like a cemetery.
It does, but it's like a super spreader cluster. If that was in Australia, we would have had contact tracing on it. We would have been that would have been a national scandal, and it was in the US as well. But of course, they've refused the CDC's help in that contact tracing. Again, more negligence. We'll both take a look at voting. Voting's underway. Let's have a look at how that's going, because we want to leave the polls aside and just take a really open look at what those voting trends are doing. Dr. Vicki's going to look a little bit at Amy Coney Barrett's astrology, but she'll talk about that later. We'll pull a quick look at whether there'll be any stimulus checks before the election. And then to finish with, we're just going to throw a few cards to have a look at 2021. Hopefully there's some good news we can bring you. Now, over to you, Vicki, with the astrology.
Okay, so I think what I'd like to do is we're going to look at Donald Trump's this is what I call the I have COVID chart. This was when he tweeted at, I think they said a little after 1 in the morning. What day was it? On the 2nd, which I think was a Friday. But there's a thought that perhaps he had it since the Rose Garden, and he had it during the debate.
Yeah, that was my intuition.
Right, and right, and so I read that he got to the debate late, so they test on him, and they put and as I read it in the news, it said they put him on the when you ask them, do you have COVID, and they say, and you say no, and they go, oh, okay, like they trusted him to. There's an expression, and when I read it, I was like, oh gosh.
Face value.
So
face value.
Yeah, it's like yeah. So I think that, and it's hard to believe anything. Like even the fact that a lot of people don't believe that he's sick, but I'll tell you, he's sick. As a doctor watching him, he's sick. He can barely get a breath.
Yep.
And he is a sort of a game show host. He is kind of a reality star. And this is all really, a lot of this is just smoke and mirrors. But let's look at the charts to see where that comes in. So the center chart here is Donald Trump. And a couple of significant things in his chart. He has his sun conjunct his North Node, conjunct Uranus. So in the 10th house. 10th house is the most public place. Yep. And Uranus is an energy of chaos. And so he is chaos personified. He also has his moon down here in Sagittarius, conjunct his south node. The nodes of the moon is the karmic axis, and he was actually born on a lunar eclipse. It was actually a blood moon lunar eclipse, and so he's actually going to be having his nodal return at the end of this month. Because the nodes, as you can see right here, this is the node for October 2nd. It's on his sun. So this is a fated time. So whatever he has decided to do at this time is definitely fated, in that he sort of agreed to do this. And he had an opportunity, or he has an opportunity, to do some really profound healing for himself. And if he was to choose that, it would actually be greatly healing for the United States. There's a part, and I just have a sense of this, and it sort of came to me. I was actually discussing this with a friend of mine, that if he were to just say, I'm really sorry, I was wrong, and I feel bad, Americans would forgive that, I think. And I we may get a lot of pushback from that. So, don't yell at us because I said that. But I really think it would be an opportunity to do some healing, but it has to be his choice. And
yeah, look, that came to me. It's funny you should raise that, because just before we started this reading, and I was looking at this chart, I did see the potential for healing that he had in that moment, or that he has now.
Still has.
Not only to heal himself, but to also lead and heal others. And I knew straight away, as soon as I had that thought, that he was not going to do that.
Yeah. So let's look at this chart. So we talked about his sun and his moon. Right now, he has the planet Neptune in a square to the nodes of his moon. The nodes, of course, being the karmic axis. And Neptune is the planet of confusion, but it's also a planet associated with pandemics. Neptune is the energy of the dissolution of all boundaries. And the one thing that this pandemic is showing us is that, we could wear masks and we could have social distancing, and that will help. But it doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, old, or young, this disease can hit you. Of course, it's, if you're sick and you're older or you're poor, it's going to hit you harder, but that's true of almost anything. So we have this, and what a square to the nodes does is it activates both sides of the nodes. So with his moon here and the south node on the south node, all his past is coming up. All his past, all the lies, because Neptune can be lies. Now, natally, he has Neptune square Mercury, and Neptune square Mercury can be a liar. They can also be delusional. And what's interesting is of the Rose Garden. So we had the Rose Garden on the 26th. The next day, they said that the New York Times article came out, and at that time, the sun was sitting on his Neptune, which is illusion and delusion. He has Neptune in the second house of money. So it's all smoke and mirrors, right?
Yeah.
And so now the sun is coming over all of those points in his chart. And his Jupiter is here in Libra. Jupiter's always been a very lucky planet for him. It's actually stationary in his chart. So he's very, very lucky. He gets out of a lot of things. But right now, Saturn, which actually stationed on the day, it's stationed direct on the day of the debate, is actually exactly opposite his Venus. Venus is your money. Okay, and Saturn is reality. And an opposition brings awareness. So we have awareness of the reality of his money situation. And he defines himself by the fact that he's a billionaire, but it's all a lie. And so what's happening at this time is that everything is being revealed, and then he falls ill with COVID.
I just want to also, I've been looking for a quote while you were talking about that karmic aspect of what's going on now. Joe Scarborough, the television presenter in America, said in a tweet today, A source at the White House told me last night, it feels like a bill has come due and God is collecting. So going back to, you know, I think it's almost like time-wise, he had an opportunity, like not just in this moment, not just when this chart is here, but he has had an opportunity to lead, to do the right thing. And this is just a culmination of us seeing, you know, how unfit he is. Yeah, so sorry, Vicki, I just wanted to put that in there just to illustrate.
Well, yeah, there's definitely some divine timing. He has his Pluto in here in his 12th house. Pluto is in the way that I look at Pluto is the soul. He has his Pluto in Leo in the 12th house. And when you have Pluto in the 12th house, you have to have a connection to spirit. If you don't have a connection to spirit, you can think you're God, right? And what's happening now is the planet Uranus, which is the planet that pulls the rug out from under you. I mean, he's a Uranian influence. So all the rugs that have been pulled out from under all of us and all the wounding that has happened is because of his energy. But that being said, I think there's a purpose for all of that. We have to face our fears. And he's really fear personified, right? And so I think there's like a need to be vulnerable for all of us on a certain level. And he needs to be vulnerable. He needs to say, I'm sorry. He needs to say, help me, is what he needs to say. And he can't say it. But he has this Uranus, and today, it's, right as we speak, Uranus is actually exactly opposite Mercury, not in this chart, but in today's chart. And it's squaring that Pluto. And so, and his ruling planet as a Gemini is Mercury. And Mercury is in Scorpio right now, which is associated with death and rebirth, but death. So he has an opportunity to die. He has an opportunity to die to the old and be reborn to the new, or he has an opportunity to leave.
Yeah, I think I mean that's I don't wish him, and I keep saying,
no, of course not. No, that's you never do that. But he's making his decisions.
Yeah, but for practical terms as well, if he were to leave now, I don't know that that's justice. I've always seen him hanging on, that he has some kind of recovery, but he's left with these complications as a result. I mean, I think that whoever he caught COVID from, and this whole series of events now so close to the election in this final campaign straight has really finished, has really been the end of his presidency, and that's what we're witnessing. I will say this too, that it is around, you talk about Mercury, but we're hearing his expression, the flaws in his expression in real time. We heard it at the debate with all of those planets in that 5th house, with all of his tweets, with everything that he's saying about COVID and wounding people who have lost loved ones. We're seeing an expression, a self-expression that is not what people want. And he had the opportunity with Ceres in his 6th house. And at the time that he got COVID as well, in Aquarius, he had an opportunity to do things differently. And he's failed spectacularly. And I think the stars have aligned now. And really, he is reaping what he's sowed. That's right. Particularly around his self-expression.
Right, right. And we can't ignore Venus here sitting on his Mars, on his ascendant, exactly opposite Ceres. Ceres is the symbol for Ceres is a sickle, which means that you're reaping what you've sown.
Yeah.
And so Ceres is the as you pointed out to me before we got started, you were amazed at how active the feminine asteroids are in his chart and what's going on. One of the other things that's happening is there's a planet that I can't put on my things here, my charts, called Eris. Eris was the sister of Aries, and she's at about, in fact, they were conjunct, I think, yesterday. Eris, and she's like the divine feminine, but the angry feminine. Angry feminine. And there's also Black Moon Lilith is there. So we have two major like feminine like the feminine that's been thrown out as evil are coming back and saying, wait a minute, that's your opinion. And so the feminine is really sort of coming in very strongly. And
yeah, I mean, again, the justice here. I mean, when I look, you know, even Juno there in his natal chart in that second house of possessions, to me, then we get it into the third house at the time that he said COVID. I mean, that's just one aspect. And then I think I mentioned to you Vesta in his 12th house. Of course, 7th house can be open enemies, 12th house hidden. Yes. So it's almost like, and it won't surprise me at all, just jumping ahead to post your November elections, if we see that the women vote has carried the defeat of Donald Trump, that it's down to the women. So we've got, you know, I'm picking up, I talked about this before we started, Vicki, that a lot of my viewers who are women are really traumatized by the 4 years of Donald Trump. He has, we know, he came to power as with a lot of accusations around rape, around sexual assault, and then we had that verbal footage from him saying that he actually does abuse women. We had that before the election. It didn't matter because he got, like, he won. People tended to stay at home for all sorts of reasons. There wasn't a landslide vote, but certainly after he was elected, the divine feminine started to activate, started to come forward in all those marches which went all around the world. And it's not surprising to me that we will close his chapter down by someone of Ruth Bader Ginsburg's caliber, and all these feminine asteroids in that Rose Garden event basically seeing that they have now COVID. And what is COVID? COVID is from the earth. COVID, and we talked about Ceres as well. So, you know, there's just so much here around that reflects a sign of our times. So I hope that when we throw cards on 2021, which is what we're going to do toward the end of this, that we get a really good picture of the tension, the balance between the divine masculine, which is inherently as it should be, and the divine feminine, that we get that balance. So I'm hoping that's what we're moving toward. Now, do you want to pull a couple of today cards on his health to see where he is today with his health? I keep seeing that he's not being seen, but he is tweeting on the hour sort of thing. So let's have a look. All right, so I'll just tune in now to Donald Trump's health. You know, I'm just getting resilience, that we really need to be. I'm getting that lighthouse view, and of course the light, that we do need to endure, and that we do need to be resilient at this time. And for anyone who is feeling triggered, step away from all of this. Turn off your social media, turn off your news feed, and step away and find that inner peace, because I am seeing a lot of that in my feeds, a lot of fear, a lot of just women feeling like they've been, you know, it's been a 4 years of that kind of continual type of abuse, and not seeing this this justice coming through for, you know, when those allegations go without challenge, when he's not charged, when we have the DOJ interfering in a case where there has been an allegation of rape and now defamation. You know, this all matters to us. It's mattered all our lives, and it matters now. So there's my little bit of soapboxing for the day. So let's have a look at his health. Donald Trump. So how is he going today? Show me within 4 cards, Spirit, please. How is he going today? Yeah, okay, all right. So we've got the Sun card. So that can be illumination, but it can be, it's also my card for COVID, but it could be that we're just getting this, which is where my intuition, because all cards have an energy. As readers, we pick that energy up individually. My feeling is we're in a period of we're getting very, very good illumination on why we got Trump and why we're here and where we need to go. It's challenged by the Capricorn. So in a way, the Ace of Pentacles, in a way, we've got the conjunctions that we experienced, that we saw in January, that we knew, that warned us that COVID was coming. And so here again, we have this illumination. So because the Ace of Pentacles is in his challenge position here, is crossing him, this is showing me that it will be difficult, pardon me, for him to start again. Yeah. You know, it's like, you know, you can end something and reset and go on to become stronger, but this new start is in a crossing position, showing me that he may have problems restarting, certainly his campaign, but we're talking about his health, restarting his health. We have the Magician here, a manifestation in the foundation of the reading. And I chose this pack because of the light coming out of this Magician's eyes. I see we're manifesting really the end of Donald Trump via this full illumination. And that's why the astrology reading you've just given is so important. That's why the work that the readers have been doing is so important. I see that we have this 8 of Cups is in my past position, showing the loss, the gravity of the loss that he faced. There is no winning with his COVID diagnosis for him, nor for the Republicans. We have the High Priestess in the sky. Now, she is the divine feminine, really, she is. And she's also the genesis of something in the universal consciousness that is wanting to come forward. Now, the fact that she appeared here with the Magician shows me that there is something here in our consciousness, in our higher selves, that is currently moving through to manifestation at the moment. And it's not got to do with him restarting. It's got to do with him failing to be able to recover from this. And finally, we've got the Prince of Swords, which of course is the Knight of Swords. There's a harsh truth coming. So I feel that he, you know, this is consistent with my readings of a couple of days ago. I'm not pulling the Death card, but at this time, his biggest problem is he's having trouble regaining his health along with regaining everything else. And we do have Temperance at the bottom. And so, you know, these are major arcana cards. I think that this is where we're heading to. It's a rebalancing, or the opportunity by the illumination that we saw with him. It is an opportunity for rebalancing. So I feel I don't see the Death card for him, but I see he's having trouble moving on from this. He is and will. I don't see a time when he can just bounce back and be the Trump as we knew him. So right now, I would say that he is hanging in between the, and not going to be able to reset or regain that health at this time.
So I picked four cards from my Illuminated Earth Oracle, and the first card I picked was the Moon. And so, we're talking about his health. This seems like the Moon is there's an instability here. There's an emotional instability. I think he's going through mood swings. Now he's on heavy medicine. He's on steroids. He's having these roid rages. I think the tweets about not sending out the checks is his way of sort of striking out that he doesn't have control. So I think he's coming from a very emotionally imbalanced place. The next card I got is concealment. And so there's still things that there are hidden things. Things are not, we're not getting the whole story, which of course we kind of know, but the story that we're getting is actually much smaller than the story that's actually there. The next card I got was evolution reversed, right? And so as I see it reversed, he has a choice to evolve, but he's not choosing to do that. And then the last card I get is retreat. And so he had an opportunity to make a different choice. And I think it was October 2nd when he said, I have COVID. It was a 16, 10, 2, and 4. It was a 16-7 vibration that day. That day vibrated to a 16-7. That's the tower in the tarot, but that's also his soul vibration. So that was a test for him. And I think he chose fear over, I think it's even just fear that no one's going to love, if he doesn't, there's this feeling like if he's not this larger than life character who's a billionaire and all this other stuff, nobody's going to love him. When if he would just stop, people would love him. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you know what you're triggering when you speak, when you just spoke, the loss of his mother when he was very young. Yes. And then we look at Ceres in that 6th house and his natal chart there. I can see that, I guess we're given opportunities, aren't we, Vicki, in life to do the right thing. And we, I think from the time that he didn't respect the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I think that, from that moment he had a chance there. And it's like these events are it's like dominoes falling now. But, it brings me to a question. What do we have to learn from him? I mean, there's so much we're learning. With all those planets in his 8th house of death and rebirth, and Chiron there in Aries there in the 8th house, of course, the wounded healer.
And the wounds of narcissism.
Yeah. So, I mean, is he going to learn anything? I mean, maybe not at this time, but down the track is an interesting question. Whether or not he actually will learn when he's lost that power, or will he just reinvent himself with a new TV station? And I from my point of view, I feel that he will never regain his health, and that will stop him in the tracks. And there is word, gossip, rumors, the Twitter mill that Don Jr. and Kimberly Guilfoyle, that partnership, is fighting with Ivanka and Jared about who carries on the reins of this so-called political dynasty.
Yeah, they're delusional as well.
Oh, they give me a headache.
Yeah, I think that you know, there'll come a time when we go, you know, thank goodness he did what he did, because when we get to the other side of this, we'll understand it. It's really hard when you're in the middle of it to understand it. This is you know, we can assume that he's a young soul perhaps, or that he's not um um you know, that he's just like being I don't want to say stupid, but like not enlightened. Wouldn't it be a real um shift if he was actually a great soul who chose to do this for all of us?
Well, I'm looking, as you say, that in his natal, look at all those camps in his 11th house, which is groups, friends. Look at all those placements in Cancer. His Mercury in Cancer, his Saturn in Cancer, his Venus in Cancer.
And
You know,
Saturn conjunct Venus is very harsh. It's like, because Venus is the planet of love and Cancer. I'm a Cancer. You know, when I think about what he's going through, and I get a lot of, you know, blowback for this, I have a lot of empathy for him. I know what it's like to feel like your mother's not there, you know, deep inside of me. I had a great mother, and she took very good care of me. But when I was a baby, my birth mother, they took me away from her and she never touched me. So I have this like lost child thing that I resonate with him. And I feel sorry. I don't agree with anything that he does. I think he does terrible things, but I think it comes from a place of just feeling unlovable and proving to us that he is. And there's a part of me that just wants to get online with all my gal pals like you and just do a big love fest and send him all kinds of loving energy and see what happens, because it's good. He is us on a certain level. He's not different from us. He is us. And he's us at our most petulant and infantile you know, self. And we have to learn to love that part of ourselves. And perhaps, you know, in loving him and sending him love doesn't mean that we agree with everything he does. It's just that he's a soul that's really hurting. And I think it's, and I've wanted to say this for a long time, so I finally have the courage while you're here with me.
I'm standing here with your sister. Go for it.
You know, I mean, he's a terrible person, but he is a soul. And, you know, we all have, you know, we have lifetimes when we're terrible people. You kind of have to learn that if you're an old soul. Nobody's all good. Nobody's all good. We all have, you know, our things. He's just doing it on such a grand scale that. You know.
I'm with you. I'm hearing you on that. I do want to say that this much I've learned in my life. I've seen a lot of death, and I have been in the room. I've been in the you know, I've lost so many people. It's been a kind of thing. I guess it's in my blueprint there as well. But whether it's the Venus in Scorpio, I don't know. But I will say this, that we have a responsibility, just as he had a responsibility to Ruth Bader Ginsburg's dying wishes, and not to politicize that, and to respect her wonderful contribution. We also have a responsibility not to, this man is, I think, I won't say close to death, but he's certainly lost. He's going to lose some more. Our behavior needs to, you know, I keep talking about needing to check in on ourselves and go, okay, if all I can do is sit there and hurl abuse at someone like Donald Trump, you know, is that the right thing for me to, is that where I want to put my energy?
Exactly.
Or do I want to put my energy into understanding why we got him? How did we get to this place? What is that sun card, that illumination? what is there for me to learn? Because just as you had Barack Obama, we also, it's interesting how Trump has been paralleled in different governments across the world. England got Boris Johnson. We have Scott Morrison, who is very much in step. He's an evangelist, you know, he's from an evangelistic church. He has, you know, quoted some of QAnon's stuff. He's or echoed some kind of sentiments, phrases, and he's very much in step with Donald Trump. Yet when you had Barack Obama, we had a very moderate prime minister here who actually got ousted because of his, in the Conservative Party, he got ousted, stabbed in the back by Scott Morrison, our current Prime Minister, because of his stand on climate change. He really lost his prime ministership because he stood up and said, we want to cut emissions, we want to do our bit. And now Australia is seen as some kind of pariah because we are not cutting our emissions. So it's not just the US with Trump, it's other countries are reflecting what is going on at the time with this treading on values, treading on the right way to
treading
go.
on Mother Earth. This is the desecration of the divine feminine, and that is it's the last gasp, quite frankly, of the patriarchy.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna well, you know, we have a choice. We actually have a choice similar to what Trump is. Are we going to choose life, or are we going to choose our way and death? It's like my way or the highway. It's the highway to hell. Or are we going to choose life? Or are we going to say, you know, we have to start cooperating. We're getting shown what it's like to be completely uncooperative with everybody. That's what Trump shows us. And we can see, and you know, he may make the ultimate sacrifice in that this is the end of him, you know, and then we can see as people like that's not the way to go. You know, this is going to bring us to this is going to bring us to the realization that we have to start talking to one another. And it's really hard here in the United States because people are very, very divided, you know, and they don't want to open their hearts on both sides. I mean, I say I think we should send Donald Trump love. I think I'm going to get a lot of flack from people who politically agree with me. But ultimately, the answer is love anyway. That's what we're here to learn.
It always ends up that equation. And wouldn't it be interesting when Donald Trump does eventually leave this earth, for when he's doing that life review and someone says to him, well, you did accomplish a great learning on the planet at the time, because it is all about love. And that's why you have to, I think, you know, we have to be careful about our own actions and our own thoughts at this time. And that's why I keep saying, put your focus on Biden and Harris. Right. Put your vision on them. Because Biden is somebody that his Gettysburg Address is somebody that can heal. And they're already saying in Australia, if Biden and Harris get elected, what does that mean for our Australian government, who is anti-climate change? If you've got the US taking leadership again on very, you know, important matters, you know, what does that mean for leaders who are in lockstep with Trump, and Trump's gone? So we will see these good influences flowing out. So that's why your election is so important, to put the focus on a Biden-Harris win, and not on these lower, what I call lower energies, which don't do you any good, not you, but don't do any of us any good when we're sitting in that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go from here, Vicki?
Oh my God, this is pretty heavy duty. We could look at Amy, if you want, Amy Coney. I should learn her name, right? Barrett. I have a chart. It's not particularly accurate because I could we can't get a time of birth. But there were a couple of very interesting things about it, and we can look at it if you want. Is that good? All right. So
Yeah, let's do that, and then we might finish with a throw on 2021.
yes, that would be, yeah. And this won't take too long. But there's a couple of very interesting things about her chart. And let me, oh, the technology sometimes completely loses me. What am
Better you. I wouldn't be able to even share a screen like that.
So she was born in January 28th, 1972. She's an Aquarius. And because this is a noon chart, her sun is up here. Now, this gives her a Taurus ascendant, but we don't have an accurate time. She has her moon in Cancer. She does have her moon in Cancer, even if she was born 1 minute after midnight, or if she was born 1 minute before midnight, she would still have her moon in Cancer. So we know that's there. But she has a couple of things in her chart that make her kind of seem quite traditional. One of them is she has Saturn in Taurus, and Taurus tends to like, they don't like change. Like, they go with, it can be very staid. It's like, if it's traditional, that's good. She has her Mercury, how her mind works, in Capricorn, Capricorn is also an archetype of sort of patriarchal thinking, we'll call it. But
that doesn't surprise me.
Right. But the thing is, and in this chart, it's in the ninth house of this.
Yeah.
Ninth house is the Supreme Court. But what's happening right now is Pluto is sitting on her Mercury. And so her mind is going through a transformational process. Right? So we have Pluto transiting all the Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter is all on her Mercury right now. So there can be a change. She has her Jupiter in Sagittarius, and this can be very religious. It can be religious. It can be very open-minded. It depends on how she manifests this. So this can be very traditional in a way. Her Mercury can be very traditional in a way. Saturn there in Taurus, but she does have Saturn retrograde, and when you have a retrograde, you are open to change. So this is actually the fact that she has Saturn at 29 degrees, which is the last degree. So it's like very, very Taurus, but she has it retrograde. So there's an opening there.
And it's conjunct with Pallas, which is Pallas Athene, which is justice, isn't it? Wisdom and justice.
Yes, the goddess of wisdom. She has very powerful feminine aspects. She's got the goddess of wisdom, good governance, conjunct her Saturn. She has a Vesta, what she's devoted to, conjunct Venus in Pisces. This could be her connection to her Catholic, her Catholicism. I guess that's not really what you want to call it. But one thing that she does have that's a little bit trickier is that she has Mars opposite Uranus.
I was looking at that, yeah.
And then of course Uranus conjunct Juno, and Juno was the queen of heaven. That's another like powerful feminine aspect. So when I see these powerful feminine aspects in her chart, I think, it's possible that she might be a good thing to have in the Supreme Court, not because of her politics, but because of the energy of the feminine. She's a very, very bright woman. She's very bright. She's very smart. But this Mars opposite Uranus is like a little bit of a wild card in her. And plus it's square her Saturn. So she actually has, depending on where her moon is, she would have a grand cardinal square. So that's an initiation. So there's something about her chart that brings the energy of initiation. So she could, while I, politically I don't agree with her at all, this doesn't really say if she's going to get in or not, and we don't have an accurate time. So, but there's parts of her that I think that we're only seeing a little bit. And what I sense, and this could be my own bias, is that she knows what she needs to do to succeed in the realm that she's in. But I think that she could be open to shifting. And I did her numbers as well, and I won't talk about them here. In fact, I'll probably do something with her numbers because you don't need an accurate birth time to do the Kabbalah. But she's got some very powerful numbers, and she has the opportunity to sort of wake up to a new realization. So we'll see what happens. But I just thought she had a very interesting chart. There are things in it that are very traditional, and yet there are things in it that are not. And her nature is Aquarius. And so her ruling planet of her sun is that Uranus in Libra. And it's in Libra, the sign of
justice, balance, swaying the scales of justice,
right.
In the sixth house.
So she will be a powerful, if she gets in, she will be a powerful force. What that means, I don't know. I wouldn't dare to say. But I just thought she had an interesting chart, and I kind of wanted to just bring that in.
Yes. Do you want me to draw 2 or 3 cards to see if she will be confirmed?
Yeah.
I've never seen her being confirmed before the election. That may have changed by now. So let's have a look. Will she be confirmed? Will Amy Coney Barrett be confirmed? So we've got judgment coming forward, endings and beginnings. I don't see that. I see her, I read that, well, depending on what clarifies that, as her nomination coming to a close, and its inevitability. And yeah, we've got the devil, a toxicity around her nomination. They're pretty powerful cards in the tower. So I really don't need Spirit to tell me anything more, that her nomination process is really not looking good at this time. You know, what are the odds of drawing those 3? It is that energy that is surrounding everything now. If Trump is so unwell that he can't manage this nomination from the White House, if you know, you start getting those mass evictions and the Senate has to start to look at a stimulus, for example, instead of this nomination, there's just this tower, the tower moment is upon her. So, and the toxicity, the devil card, and of course the judgment card. It's like, you know, this addiction to getting this this justice confirmed is doomed. I mean, that's the way I'm reading it, but we'll see what happens.
Well, those cards certainly indicate that it's not looking good for her. But what's interesting about her numbers is the way I do numbers, there's something called a shadow vibration. And so it's the thing that sort of undoes you. And in her shadow is a 40/4, and it happens to be the same number as Trump's path of life. And so if it had been anybody else but Trump, I think she could have gotten. Yeah.
If George Bush had have nominated her, you know,
or even Pence, even if it had been like, you know, they had waited and Pence did it, like even in that time when they're not supposed to do anything in December, she might have had a chance. But and then the other thing is that the Rose Garden was her nomination, and who knows how many Republicans are going to go down. They may not even have enough people to, what is that, a quorum or something?
Yeah, well, there's three Republican senators down with it at the moment. Yeah, let's see how it all pans out. These are interesting times. Now, to finish this off, did you want to pull some cards, and then I might pull some cards on 2021? Yep. I'm hoping for some good news, Vicki. I really am. We need it.
Okay. Oh, how nice. I'll tell you in a second. Oh, good. All right. So I'm picking 5 cards. Oops. Okay. So the first card I got was the Eight of Pentacles, which says to me that there's a lot of hard work ahead and a lot of repetitive work. So there's this sense of doing the same thing over and over again. I think a lot of it might be plugging the holes that the Republicans have created that is draining the finances of the country. And then the next card I get is the Two of Pentacles. So it's an opportunity, or it's going to be trying to like balance. There's a lot of balancing here because they have to figure out, first of all, how to plug the holes and get the money back into the country, right? And then how are they going to distribute it? How are they going to balance things? And it's going to be kind of a dance, and there's going to be a lot of emotional upheaval. But I also get the Ten of Cups, so there is going to be this sense of relief. There's definitely a relief. There's definitely, and this, I believe, if I remember correctly, is Joe Biden's soul vibration, the Ten of Cups, the 50/5 vibration. And then we have the Knight of Wands.
Yeah.
So this is about sort of being on a new quest, start going in a new direction. But then I got the Seven of Cups. And I think that we have to guard against being, like, it's going to feel like such a relief that we don't have to deal with Trump anymore. We just have to remember to keep things realistic, because this card can be somewhat, like we can go in our head, oh, it's going to be like this, and it's going to be like this, and it's going to be like this. We have a lot of challenges ahead, and I think that a lot of those challenges are going to come, through what has to be fixed. But not just that, but the whole, oh my God, I can't think of it. The hurricanes, the fires,
the natural disasters.
the natural disasters that are coming, because next year the big aspect is Uranus squaring Saturn. And so, this is like the structures are it's going to be shaken and moving and shaken,
I see a lot of problem solving needed with that Two of Pentacles, that it's that it's going to need to be a lot of methodical stepping through problem solving, planning strategies, and a lot of hard choices to be made as well. I'll just sorry. Yeah, that's seven.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say that Seven of Cups, when there's those difficulties, it's like people will tend to go toward those conspiracy theories because of the fear. So I hope that we're going to get a bit better handle on those sorts of, things that we see, this gaslighting, so much gaslighting and conspiracy theories, and, that we can move back into that, Aquarian ninth house, where we actually do consider the evidence, where we actually do, look at the knowledge, look at the validation, and not really be triggered to go down the fear and negativity path.
I think once Trump moves out, that a lot of that stuff is going to move out with him. I don't think it's going to hang around.
Well, let's have a look. Let's have a look if I can compliment.
I am an optimist.
Okay, the optimist, the Sagittarian optimist. So show me 2021, please, Spirit. Show me 2021. There will be greater equality. I'm seeing the crown coming down off the head and being at, sitting on the throne without, so there's not going to be this kingly, the gap is going to be narrowed, that there's going to be more focus on equality, not just serving the rich and the powerful, because this was their coup, wasn't it, or their attempted coup. So let's have a look at, so that crown's coming down. All right, so there will be like more equality and fairness. We'll get a ride here now. Okay, so show me 2021. 2021. That's a good thing. 2021. So the King of Cups, Biden, shows up and in his own reading, or in the reading. He's here. We've got more focus moving away from Capricorn, moving into this, you know, emotional strength, you know, maturity, wisdom. That's the thing about the King. When it's not the King, you've got these choppy waters. When it is the King, you've got this emotional maturity, and what that does is it calms the waters. So straight away, I see from an emotional, and you, as you know, with your so many planets in Pisces, of course, you and you know, you and my Chiron in Pisces, we're going to have a calmer water here, calmer emotions, which a wisdom, an emotional wisdom in Biden. We've got a lot of coming together because there is work to do, and I've always said that this King of Cups surrounds himself with a team that is capable of rebuilding. It's not easy. In other decks, in one of my decks, this Three of Pentacles looks like they're rebuilding the Notre Dame after the cleansing fire. So there is a rebuilding focus, and indeed in this card as well, and that people are chosen for their particular skill sets to help rebuild. But most of all, with this Ace of Cups, I'm so pleased to see this. I'm seeing this new emotional start. At the base of the pack, we've got the strength of the warrior queen. She's the Queen of Swords. Okay, so she's not taking any, she comes forward with her logic, with her strategy, and with her, all of the king, queen, knights, they carry that Ace of Swords, which is the truth. So if with this battle, this cleansing, this, you know, divine masculine, divine feminine, this balancing out of things, we will see women more empowered in this new government, the Biden and Harris ticket, and it will go quickly. That kind of empowerment will come quickly with the Chariot, and I do see it brings with it optimism. And when we've got the star, you've got Jupiter, okay? You've got that Wheel of Fortune. So while things, they're beautiful cards, while things are maybe difficult, as you say, we do have these really optimistic, positive cards, you know, underlying all that difficulty. So I'm feeling a bit better now. I've seen those, seen our cards. We know what we're in for, and we know that there's a healing.
There's another side of this. There's definitely the other side of this, and we're just not there yet. And so it's very painful, and it's very challenging. And it's, you know, we're in this month in October. October is the 10th month. We're in a 4-year vibration. This is a 14-5 month. So all of October is the Temperance card. And so it really, we have to put one foot in front of the other. And there's going to be a lot of extremes around us, but we can't get caught up in them. And so you can't get caught up in the fear. You can't get caught up, you know, you just have to put one foot in front of the other, walking the straight and narrow. And by the end of the month, we're going to realize that we have a connection to spirit. We're walking the path of the mystic right now. And that can be a very, and you're a Sag, so you understand this. Your life probably describes this, you know, it hasn't been easy, and you've had to just put one foot in front of the other to get from point A to point B. I think we've all kind of had that experience in our lives, but it's especially important now. And then next month we go into a 15, we go into the Devil card, right? But that is about taking responsibility. It's not about the devil necessarily, but it's about taking responsibility for our actions. So it's going to be, and then in December we go into a Tower. So it's very interesting that, like, we're ending 2020 with Tower vibration. But what the Tower does is it makes us realize who we really are. We're spirit having a human experience. The Tower just takes down all the facades.
What do we go into in January 2021?
We go into a 6. Well, 2021 is a 5, but January is a 6. So it's choices. It's the Lover's card, but 6 is about community, and it's love, and it's responsibility.
Yeah.
And so that's the vibration of this, you know, this kind. We have the 5 vibration, which is for the whole year. That's change, listening to our inner voice. And then as we move through, we start with the 6 and the 7, and so we continue.
To me, 6 is also that healing, Vicki. It's you know, in the tarot, it's that moving out of those very volatile waters and into something that is calmer.
Right.
So to me, if we look at the Devil in November and the Tower in December, that points to me, you know, the difficulties about Trump not conceding, all the things that he's you know, he's talked about, disputing mail-in ballots, and then, you know, it going into that Tower moment, and then, you know, some kind of resolution. I always get the Temperance card, that there will be resolution to all of this, and then we move into healing in the new year. But as you say, it's not all plain sailing, is it?
No, we're in a spiritual initiation right now, and as you and I know, those can be buggers. That can be a real bugger, but you know, we're here for each other, and that's why you and I are doing this, and this is why, you know, there are so many really good readers and astrologers out there lighting the way, and we're going to make it through this together. And when we get to the other side, we'll be like, whew, now we can go on, maybe take a little vacation.
That's it. And then come back and read on, you know, the mythical, the, you know, the esoterical, the, you know, take a real good exploration around the spiritual traps, so to speak, you know, instead of, you know. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to moving on. From Trump, I'm talking about, not from anything else.
Right, not from everybody who watches us.
Yeah, no, my channel will be around till, you know, I'm this grey, white-haired old lady pulling the cards. But I really will, like the rest of us, be very, yeah, the spiritual initiations aren't easy, are they? And it will be good when that Devil card, that toxicity, and those Tower moments, and that Capricornian heavy, you know, Capricornian energy moves through into, you know, where we can luxuriate in our ideals. Let me just put it like.
Well, that's when we're going to have the conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter on the solstice in Aquarius, first degree of Aquarius. So that's a real shift.
When does that occur? What date?
The solstice.
Sorry.
Summer solstice for you, winter solstice.
Yes. Right.
So our shortest day and longest night, and your longest day and shortest night.
Ah, okay. So that's not too far away.
Nope.
Now, all right, let's set a date. Shall we do a joint reading on that date and really have a look at the energies and get all our decks out and our charts out and really have some fun?
That would be great. That would be great.
All right. Okay. Well, look, thank you so much for this. It's been wonderful. And it's been heavy, and it's been joyful, and it's been all of those things, but most of all, it's been enlightening. So, yeah.
Thank you for doing this with me. It's really.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For sharing.
I feel like we're soul sisters.
We are, absolutely. Mwah.
Love you, sweetie. All right, I'm gonna stop the.
Okay.
Take care, everyone. Namaste. We love you.